Hello everyone and welcome to this week's history lesson with yours truly, Mr. Price. Now I know what you're thinking, what is with the video quality? Well, I can explain that by telling you that portions of this week's history lesson are being filmed with a piece of history. That's right, what you're seeing right now is being filmed with the Panasonic AG170, the very first camera I ever owned or filmed anything with. It came out in the year 1988 and it still works today. Kinda. Before we begin, let's do a little housekeeping and talk about some of the standards we'll be addressing in today's video. First of all, as far as history standards are concerned, we'll be locating and describing the major river systems and discuss the physical settings that supported permanent settlement and early civilizations. Also, we'll be tracing the evolution of language and its written forms. For our ELD standards, we'll be listening actively to spoken English in a range of social and academic contexts, as well as analyzing how writers and speakers use vocabulary and other language resources for specific purposes to explain, persuade, entertain, etc. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite places in the whole world, Egypt. Egypt, as you know, was settled and developed along the Nile River. And we're going to find out why today. I'd like you to take just a minute to think about any rivers or canals or lakes that might be near where you live. Why did so many ancient civilizations develop near large bodies of water? Let's find out. The area that I'm standing in is sometimes filled with water. In fact, if it were filled with water right now, the water would probably be up to my neck. This is the King's River. We see that most ancient civilizations developed near rivers and other large bodies of water. Why is that? Well, quite simply because we need water.
Humans need water for a number of reasons: to bathe, to drink, and to water crops. It is for these reasons the Egyptians developed their societies near the Nile River. The Nile River is over 4,000 miles long and flows through much of the eastern part of Africa. It flows into the Mediterranean Sea. They built canals that branched from the river. These canals had gates that controlled how much water came in. These canals led to smaller feeder canals that they used to water their crops. Today, we use nearly the same methods to water our own crops. All around the Central Valley, we find rivers, canals, aqueducts, and reservoirs that gather and move rainwater we use for the very same reasons the Egyptians did.
You know, it's often said that one of the best ways to immerse yourself into a different culture is by trying their food. Unfortunately, we don't have many ancient Egyptian cookbooks or anything like that. A lot of the ancient Egyptian recipes we have now have mostly been passed on by oral history, people basically just telling these things to each other over time. We know what supplies they would have had to make certain foods back then, so we kind of can gather what they would and would not have been eating during that time. But what I'm going to show you right now is a more modern Egyptian recipe. Egyptian sweet cookies. So here we go. If you'd like to try making this yourself along with me, you're going to need a few things. 4 cups of flour, 2½ sticks of unsalted butter, melted, 1½ cups of powdered sugar, 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, a pinch of salt, 1/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/2 cup of milk, room temperature. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. My oven is behind me, and I have already done that. Next, in a large bowl or mixer, mix together all the dry ingredients. So that would be the flour, sugar, baking powder, salt, cinnamon, and nutmeg. This bowl might be a little bit too small. Well, I messed up. I put one of the non-dry things in. Hopefully that doesn't cause a problem. So now I've got my mixer here, and with the mixer set to low speed, slowly add the vanilla, but I already did that unfortunately. And followed by the melted butter. Okay, so... pour in milk and mix until all ingredients are fully incorporated. A half a cup of milk now. Okay, so we got our cookie sheet here. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cookie sheet and a spoon, and I'm going to scoop a little ball out kind of like this. Try my best anyway. And I'm going to roll this into a ball, it says. I'm going to put them in a ball like this. And then it says to make a crosshatch, which I guess is like that, yeah, into the top, with a fork. So take a fork and make a crosshatch. So we'll do, and I'm just going to use my hand here. I think it's kind of wet. It's going to have to use it like Play-Doh now. All right, David's going to help me roll some of these. Now just roll the balls with me, and we'll do... maybe 3 more, so 3 by 5. Just roll the balls and make the cross hatchings. David Albertson, everyone, thank you. Okay, bake each batch for 12 to 15 minutes or until golden brown. So here we go. Okay, our timer is done, which means we are ready to take the cookies out of the oven. Okay, here they are, 15 cookies. Very hot right now still. Now, the one thing that I do want to note is that this batch of dough, and I still got quite a bit left actually, this batch of dough will probably make at least 2 more trays of these cookies here, so that's up to you if you'd like to do that. Now, the last step is we take our confectioner's sugar here, or powdered sugar as they call it sometimes, and now we're just going to dust the cookies with some powdered sugar just to make them even more delightful. Ah, yes. Just dust it. A little more probably there, huh? Ah, yes. Dust the cookies. All right, now for the moment of truth, we're going to try the cookies. So, David, why don't you come in here to the frame and we'll try these together and we'll give our opinion on the Egyptian sweet cookies. So, I'll let you pick your cookie first, and I'll pick mine. I'll grab this one right here. All right, smell them first. Ooh, they're very warm still. So let's try not to burn our tongues or anything here. All right, here we go. Delicious. What do you think?
They're good?
Good. Whew, those cookies sure were good. I tell you what, I think we're going to eat a couple more of them, and you guys get to just fast forward to the next part of the video lesson where you learn about language. The Egyptians developed a form of written language we call hieroglyphs. Hieroglyphs are pictures and symbols that represent words and sounds. There were over 1,000 different hieroglyphs, and they were inscribed on pottery, ivory, papyrus, and often on the inside of tombs. The discovery of the Rosetta Stone allowed historians to interpret the hieroglyphs so that we now understand what these symbols mean. Hieroglyphs later inspired the Phoenician and Greek alphabets, which then inspired many of the various alphabets we use today. Right now, I'm going to try and write my name using hieroglyphs. If you'd like to do the same, check the description of the video below to find the exact same translation images that I'm using to write my name. It should be noted that some of the sounds in the ancient Egyptian language aren't necessarily the same in the English language, so we're going to try our best here. How do I know that I can trust this translation I'm going to be using? Well, it came from pbs.org. If you recall in my last video, I taught you about understanding how to differentiate between reliable sources. PBS, have I heard of it? Yes, I have, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. Okay, and let's begin. Okay, so of course, spoiler alert, if you don't already know, my name, of course, is Larry. Okay, now if I check my translation here, the closest symbol we have for an L is actually what appears to be a lion. So I'm going to do my best here to draw this lion, and all of you should know by now Mr. Price is not like a professional artist by any means. Okay, there is our L for Larry, all right? A little bit bigger than I would have hoped, but let's look for the A now. And here's the A. We've got something that looks sort of like an eagle. This is tough. So there's the A. And now I've got two R's, and it looks like the R's are actually very simple. Whew, I shouldn't screw this up too bad. If we look at the R's, we've got two symbols that look kind of like these rings, like this. So I just do two of these. There we go. Not perfect, but it is what it is. L-A-R-R, and now I just need my Y. Y is very interesting because Y is actually two symbols that look sort of like feathers. Mine look more like kitchen knives, but that's okay. And voila, there we go, Larry. Now if I want to be extra creative, I guess I can add some color. I'll just check what colors I have here. Maybe I should get some color on my lion here and make him look more like a lion, huh? Okay, so there it is, Larry in hieroglyphs. Okay, folks, so that's going to do it for this week's history lesson. I'd like you to try and make your name in hieroglyphs if you get the time. And if you do something really special, like try and make the Egyptian sweet cookies on your own, I'd love to see some pictures and hear your results. And if you liked them, if you didn't like them, or whatever the case is, send those emails to lprice@chusd.org. See you guys next time.